So in this video, we're talking about personality types. Now, what's a personality type and why should you even care? Well, personality type is the way people are used to talking to. So you need to figure out what personality that the person is on the other side of the door. So that way you can talk to them in the way they're used to be talking to. So a bull is somebody like, if you met Luke's a bull. You're like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? You know, you'll run into them. Then that's just the way they communicate. You know, they're not jerks. It might seem like, a little like assholes, but they're not. They're pretty badass once you break their shell. They're like badass people on the inside. And now is like an engineer. They want to pull up all kinds of graphs, charts, and stuff. Real analytical thinkers. Tiger, if you haven't met Jeremy yet, this dude's a big tiger. He's just a bubbly person. He's like a people person. Likes having conversation. He's a social butterfly. That's what a tiger is. A sheep is somebody who's just like, yeah, just agreeing. Like you could tell this person whatever. They're not going to give you an opinion. They're not going to give you like rarely an objection. And normally with these people, just like everybody else, but these people especially, if you run into a sheep, the odds are that the other half, the other partner, because this could be anybody. It could be a man or a woman, fortunately. So if you run into a sheep though, whoever it is you talk to and they're a sheep, chances are the partner is going to be a bull. So whenever you set an appointment with sheep, it's probably not going to go good. Most of the time sheep too, especially if they're like older, typically they have somebody else that helps them do decision making. And so if you set an appointment with a sheep, you want to ask like, hey, about the partner, or like who usually typically helps you make decisions. Normally it's like a son. So you want to get hold of the son and stuff, because if you set the appointment with just a sheep, they're probably not going to show up. They're just being nice. So a bull. So the whole purpose of understanding the personality types, whenever you get to the door, you'll realize who these people are if you're aware of it. And now that you're aware of it, now you can know how they communicate. When you talk to an owl, most of the time they're engineers, and you'll notice they'll be there like blank face, just like, yeah, okay, yeah, and you'll tell them. And so you want to pitch everybody differently. Like the owl itself, you want to tell them like, dude, are you an engineer? And most of the time they're gonna be like, yeah, I'm a numbers guy. Or you're a numbers guy? Yeah, dude, I'm an engineer. They'll tell you, right? You're like, dude, engineers love this. Mathematically, it always pencils out. I'm just trying to take you from this price point where you're at right now down to this price point. You know what I mean? The tiger. So if you run into a tiger, you really have to know where you're at with the funnel and where to cut it off. So because tigers, you'll be there on the door for like an hour. I shit you not. If you don't cut it off, you'll be there wasting your whole time, and then there's no appointment. You know what I mean? Sometimes you build rapport. You have to build rapport on every door, but you have to be mindful of where you're at, especially with a tiger. So that's why it's important to know where you're at in the funnel. So that way, you get, and a way to cut them off, what I've noticed, what I've done myself, is whenever they're talking and they're going on about something, you want to build rapport up for a little bit, right? And then you just tell them something like the typical, damn, that's crazy. Oh, wow. That's pretty interesting. Oh, dude, I'm glad you said that. And then bring it back to the cell. You know what I mean? Bring it back to the cell. Bring them back into the funnel. Don't let them wander off. Just like get them and bring them back to the funnel. You know what I mean? And so with a bull, you just want the way they like talk to, the way they like being talked to, it's just being straight up. Tell them what it is. Tell them what they want. You got to meet them at their level, and they'll respect you for that, and they'll hear you out. The bulls are pretty good to sit. Like if you set an appointment with them, you don't really have to worry about the bull canceling the appointment or not showing up, and then they're not going to answer. Like normally, if you get a bull to set an appointment, they're pretty solid. They sit all the time. An owl's the same way. If you can come across, you make it make sense. Pretty much they'll sit all the time. So these are the 4 personality types. And you just got to figure out, this is the way they communicate. Like I said, this is just the basic videos, just introducing you to this stuff so that way you can be aware of it. Because if you don't know about it, you're not going to be aware of it. And whoever recruited you, you can tell them to go more in depth with you and practice with you. I highly recommend, role playing, especially with the other guys on your team. Role playing, set something up so you can role play. Not only just the pitch, but like even talking to the personality types.